everybody. Welcome back to episode 68, Talk of Fame podcast with your host, Kylie Montigney. I'm so excited to have on singer-songwriter Lavinia Cos. Thanks so much for coming on, Lavinia.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, thanks so much for coming on. So you are a singer-songwriter. What made you want to start doing that and being in this industry?
Actually, I've done that for a while now. I've always written songs for myself for a couple of years. And then about 2 years ago, I started writing songs that I actually wanted to release because I always knew that I want to be an artist. But what made me do that? I feel like what inspired me to become an artist is watching Hannah Montana as a child.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure a lot of people listening have.
Yeah.
So I feel like that has inspired me a lot to become an artist myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you a Miley Cyrus fan since you watched Hannah Montana, or?
I am. I have been a huge Miley Cyrus fan growing up. I haven't followed her music that much these past few years, but I'm still a huge fan, and I still have so much respect for what she's built and the career that she's built. So I think I will always be a fan of hers.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, do you have a favorite song by her, or any song that kind of impacted you the most?
Probably The Climb, because the lyrics are just so true, saying you always have to take the extra mile to get where you want to be, but in the end it will all be so worth it. So I feel like that has really influenced me.
Absolutely. So on September 21st, 2021, you released your debut single, Until the End. What kind of drew you to make the song?
When I was in school, for a lot of years, I was bullied in school, unfortunately. And so I was always kind of shy and afraid to release my own music because I was afraid of what other people would say, which I can now say that I really don't care anymore. And nobody should care what other people say. If you have a dream, just go for it, because it makes it easier if you start earlier. But yeah, I graduated from high school last year, and I always said once I graduate from high school, I will release music, and that's what I did. So that's kind of, Until the End was my starting point, for my professional career. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. When I was in middle school and stuff, high school, I always was always getting bullied for who I was. I was scared to do things because I always wanted to be in the entertainment industry, but I didn't know what to be, and I was afraid to do things because I was afraid people will say things, and they do. People will say things, but then at the end of the day, I'm like, why do people care about what I do personally?
Exactly. I feel like even if I don't agree with what other people do, I would never say something that would push them down, because I feel like everyone should just go for their dreams and shouldn't care about what other people say, because in the end, the only opinion you should care about is your own. And if you feel okay, I can do better, then do better. But if someone else tells you my own father told me that he doesn't think that I'm talented enough. And that was a huge thing for me. But my parents broke up when I was still a child, and I don't talk to him, but he sent me an email and stuff like that. Long story. But you know what? Even if your close family tells you that you can't do anything, you should do it anyways and prove them wrong,
Yeah, exactly. And so when you are writing a song, do you usually focus on the lyrics first or the music?
Most of the times I'm focusing on the lyrics first, because I don't really play an instrument. So I play the keys on the chords on the piano and a couple of chords on the guitar, but I'm not a big musician. So I try to write the lyrics first and then just see what chords fit and then come up with a melody later. But I try to focus on the lyrics first to get the message as clear as possible and not focus too much on the music. I'm, working with people who create the music for me, and I trust them to bring my vision out,
Yeah, absolutely. So last Friday, you came out with a song called Favorite Heights. What kind of inspired you to write the song?
Actually, my relationship with my biological father. So the reason why I say biological father is because when I talk about my dad, I mean my stepdad. So just to make that clear, you know, it was always difficult, the relationship between us. But like after he sent me that email last year telling me that he wasn't sure that I was talented enough, and you know, all of that stuff, it was for me, it was like, okay, this is it. I don't want to do anything with him anymore. I don't want to talk to him. And I just want to, you know, Afraid of Heights is me finally completely saying goodbye to this and moving on. And what I've, you know, of course, I wrote Afraid of Heights after these like events, but I feel like it's a song that can inspire other people in similar situations, whether it be with their parents or friends or whoever, to just realize that sometimes you have to step away from something in order to be a healthy person and to be happy by your own, you know, even if it's hard, but sometimes you just have to let go.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was literally listening to this song before we even started singing. Like it really touched me exactly because like in my life I had basically and have ended relationships that weren't good for me. And even if they were like my closest people in my life, I was like, I need to end these. Like this is not healthy for me. Like
Yeah,
to have and like even some people made me angry every single day. I was not looking the best. I'm like, I need to beat these people out of my life. They're not enough for me. They're not good for me. And so like what
exactly.
was kind of like the hardest kind of part of like letting it all go and just kind of focus on something new and just letting everything go?
You know, it's been a long process for me. A couple of years ago, I kind of distanced myself from him. And then so I got you know, I had a couple of years where I could like slowly get over it and just get away from it. And I just, you know, for a while, I felt like I can write 100 songs about this. And I probably in the future will write another song about this topic just because I want to, you know, I want to write music that is of course for me letting go and, you know, getting over stuff, but I want to write music for people who are going through the same thing or who've been through something similar, because growing up music has always been there for me. It's kind of always been therapeutic to me, and I know that it's the same for other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I realized that what I want to do now is like focus on something new and not staying in the past too much. You know, maybe I'll write another song about this, but for now, I feel like I'll put this topic behind and I just start with something else, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So do you have anyone that you look up to like as like a singer songwriter or just kind of in general? Do you have anyone that you look up to?
There are a lot of people in the industry that I look up to, like as I said, Miley Cyrus or Adele, or even some people that are just getting big on TikTok and Instagram, who are just like totally self-made. But apart from that, the person that I look up to the most, and I know that probably sounds cliche, but is my mother, because she's always been like there for me. I think she's my soulmate, and she's always supported my dream, and she's never told me I can't do anything, and she's always supported me financially even when she didn't have like the ability to do it. She always found a way. Same with my dad, like my stepdad. And so my mom and my stepdad, they're like the people that I look up to the most, and they're like my heroes. I know that sounds cliche, but you know.
I love that. So if you could like work with any like singer songwriter, who would it be? It's kind of like similar to the last question a little bit.
Oh God. There are so many people out there that are amazing songwriters, but I feel like it would be really cool to write with Julia Michaels, because I know she's written for a lot of huge artists, and also like her own music. It's like so real, and the way she writes lyrics and the way she combines lyrics, it's like amazing to me. And I really would love to write a song with her eventually in the future, you know?
Yeah, she's really amazing. Like the way she does writes and her way her voices in general is like really amazing. And I can't
Yeah.
explain how much her voice is amazing. It's just really amazing.
And you know, her music, when you listen to her music, it just feels like that she wrote this song just for you, you know, for your personal situation. And that's like what I want to do. And I hope that one day I will be just like half as good as her, then I'm happy, but
Yeah, anything can happen, anything can
yeah.
happen. So since the pandemic started back in 2020, how much do you think has changed in terms of like songwriting since the pandemic started?
I feel like through the pandemic, there are a lot more sad songs out there being released and depressing songs because people were really, really depressed during quarantine and like these past 2 years. And, same for me, like the first 3 songs like that I released aren't very positive lyrics, although Afraid of Heights, I would say like the music and the production doesn't make it a sad song, but with my song Cutting Ties and stuff like that, so I feel like there's a lot more sad music out there, and I feel like that's changed a lot. But another thing that changed is like people blew up on TikTok like basically overnight, and that also brought so much more music and so many more artists that were like more in the underground suddenly had this like audience of millions of people, so they could grow. And I feel like that's an amazing thing about the pandemic. There's not much like many amazing things about it, but I feel like the pandemic changed the music industry a lot, where like major labels aren't that important anymore. Like they still are, but it's a lot easier for independent artists once they blow up on TikTok or on Instagram to get big and like start earning money on their own without a label behind them.
Yeah, exactly. So, like the final question for the interview is, what is some advice for young generations that like to be like a singer-songwriter one day?
Just start, don't wait until you're done with high school because you're afraid of what other people say. Don't wait because you think that you don't have what it takes. Just start and just start releasing music. Start the TikTok account. Do not wait with doing something because you don't want to do a trend. For me, it was like I didn't start a TikTok account up until a few months ago because I was like, well, I don't want to hop on the trend of TikTok. But, now I'm like, if I would have started in 2020, my audience would probably be way bigger now.
Yeah.
So, I guess my tip is just start somewhere, start connecting with people that are like-minded, and don't let other people tell you that you can't do anything. But also make sure that you take a break from time to time, because it can be a lot. You as an independent artist or a songwriter just starting, you have to do everything by yourself. You are your CEO of your brand, you are your marketing expert, finance and everything. So make sure that you take a break apart from everything every once in a while, just to get a clear head.
Yeah, exactly. Like when I didn't even start posting TikToks until like this year. Like, and I was like, what would happen if I even posted like last year, 2 years ago? Like I was like basically waiting. I just need like friends, TikToks with friends, and all those like little things people usually do. I'm thinking to myself like, why haven't I posted anything about like, my life in the entertainment industry? Why can't I post about things I actually want to post? So like it wasn't until a couple months ago, I'm thinking to myself like, why did I not start this earlier? My platform could be more bigger than it is now. Like, what have I done?
Exactly.
Exactly. Like when people were using TikTok before it started back in 2 years ago, I could have thought myself like I could literally use my TikTok 2 years ago, back when it was very popular. It still is popular to this day, but it wasn't as basically popular in my opinion up until like it was like 2 years ago. It's like I was like, why did I start like earlier? But at the end of the day, I can't speak. At the end of the day, like 2 years ago, I didn't even have this podcast. Like there was literally like, blow it up a little bit. But like it was like if I had it like early last year, I'd be like, oh, I could have got like 1 million followers by now.
Exactly. And that's like for people, it doesn't matter in which like part of which industry, if you're in the music industry, if you're doing a podcast, or if you're an influencer or whatever, but you don't want to be the one like being bitter about it 2 years later because you're like, what if I would have started 2 years ago or 3 years ago? you just want to start and see where it goes. I had this comment under one of my TikToks the other day where someone was saying, I want to be a songwriter, but I'm afraid. What you tell me to do? And I was just saying, what are you afraid of? Just start and see where this goes. And, if you don't like it, or if you feel like this isn't for me, or I don't want to share too much publicly, then you can always step away from it later. But you will never know unless you start.
Exactly. Like, you don't know unless you tried. Like, if you don't try, then you don't know if you're gonna like it or not.
Exactly.
That's why I was like, I grew up like that. I'm like to myself, like, I want to do this, but I'm afraid that something's gonna happen or something. And I absolutely hate it. Like, I think of myself now, like, why? Like, as I got older, I think to myself, like, why did I miss this opportunity? I should have went for it. Like, why should I care about what other people think?
Exactly.
Why did I miss out on this opportunity? I could have said I actually did this, but you don't know unless you try it. Then you don't know.
Exactly. And there's this quote that I read a couple of months ago, and it's like kind of my mantra ever since. Like, if you want to win, winners never quit and quitters never win. So, if you realize that what you do is like good, if you realize, okay, I'm posting 2 or 3 TikToks a day and my audience is constantly growing, then don't stop. I've made this mistake. I'm still making this mistake sometimes when I'm like super busy and I don't have time to record new content, but never stop posting or never stop doing anything, because then you won't ever know what it feels like to be a winner,
Exactly. Yeah. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you again so much.
With you, and we'll definitely speak soon for sure. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course, we'll definitely speak soon.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye.